Hey yo, put on that good music.
You want that good music?
That good.
You know.
Hey.
It's crazy how a love brought us close to the thing. Saw me testing thuggin', it was running the streets. Jay embraced Islam at the age of 15. Me, I had to flee the war in the Middle East. Coming close to death, got me thinking. Oh, what an honor to be living. SubhanAllah, what if God did me? How many hasanah would I bring with me? Allah's plan, Allah's plan.
Hey.
There's a wisdom being broke. I lost my vision, seeing gold. Dunya had me by the throat. I see us coming close. You ain't taking nothing but your soul. Was the egotistic you? All the ish I used to do. Naked on the roof, smoking Pittsburgh on the roof, man. Allah's plan.
Yo, what up, everybody?
What's going on?
We're back, Young and Muslim Podcast, episode number 3.
4.
Number 4. Goodness,
number
we
4.
are moving.
We flying, boy.
Flying.
Out the gates.
Let's get it.
Hey.
MashaAllah, bro.
As you guys already know, my name is Jabril,
And Muhammad Hassan.
and we greet you with the grace of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum. Salam.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I was waiting for the second one to come in. So, if you guys, that song that we just played was Allah's Plan. It's the Drake's God's Plan remix. Obviously, you guys don't live under a rock because you listen to us. That song, obviously, Mo knows the lyrics better than I do. I was kind of just lip singing.
I had the lyrics on the screen.
Oh, what? Dang.
Truth be told.
Hey, you got me because I was like, yo, I know none of these lyrics. He over here singing his heart out. But no, I got put onto Ding Squad by my mom.
You told me that.
Yeah, and did you know about them before?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. I forgot who was telling me about them. I think I might have heard them. I think somebody was playing their car. I thought, oh, who is this? And they told me. But there's two different ones. There's D Squad and then there's Native D.
Yeah, Native D is like the old rap group. Dude, I used to love that group. So
Really?
What? Yeah, man. When I was like 6, 7.
So one of the guys in that, brother Joshua, he's part of Adams. He just got a job with Duke University.
Word?
Yeah.
Is he still rapping?
I'm not sure.
No, probably not. That group is so old, it's crazy. But no, that song, I like it because it starts talking about, it is a spinoff of God's Plan, but I think it speaks more specifically to like that topic, like Allah's plan. Like, we were doing one thing and, Allah kind of steered us one way.
Does anything ever go as planned?
Look, my quote, I have my mantra, strive to thrive, endure, and survive, but I think I'm about to change it to man plans, God laughs.
I love it.
Because we do all this stuff to try and make the perfect life, and literally one little thing can happen and it throws everything out of our control. Like this control we thought we had, and we realized that is minuscule. Like we have no control over what happens. So
Remember what we learned in college? Shout out to Professor Garrity. Remember what he tells all the time?
oh, what? So you know it?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
He was saying you probably have a different spin-off, but he was like, plan is useless, but planning is essential.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I absolutely love that because there's another quote that I kind of lived off when I was a kid is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
So that's always good. But even if you plan, a plan never goes as is.
No.
And one way I like to think about it is when you're cold calling somebody, you can never have a script because you don't know how they're going to respond.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's why you have a playbook because you don't know what, all you can do is react. You know what I mean? And that's how life is. You can't have a script for life. You can't script out your life or anybody else's life. But when you can do is react when something happens. You can either react positively or negatively, but like you said, we can plan all we want, but at the end of the day, God is the best planner.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I got this opened up on my phone coincidentally.
Okay.
Not actually a coincidence. I planned on this. This is in Jabril's plan. Jabril's. All right. This is Surah Al-Zumar.
Okay.
And it's ayat 62.
Mm-hmm.
It says, Allah is the creator of all things, and He is an authority over everything to control. So, now, one thing that psyched me out when I was coming up, my dad used to always say, Allah controls everything, and nothing happens without Allah's knowing. Every single leaf that falls off a tree doesn't do so without Allah's command.
But as a kid, that's just so hard to wrap your head around.
Bro,
Not even a kid, just...
for me, it wasn't hard to wrap my head around. It was more like, I was more mystified, right? Of the fact that there's this thing. It's not a being. Yeah. It's a entity, right? That has control over all things. It basically runs the engine to our lives, and we can only really control our own actions and our own minds, because Allah bless us with free will. So, you know, like, we make all these plans and we do all this and all that, but when something happens and it gets canceled, it's still in our control to react. Right? It's still in our control to be able to take full responsibility for what happens and just say, you know what? Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. And yeah, dude, it's just funny how we think that we have all this control. We think that we can dictate what happens in our lives, but in actuality, Allah is the one that's kind of like, nah, you know what? You thought that was good for you, but I'm going to kind of like shift you over this way a little bit. And I mean, listen, everything that's happened in our lives, we talk about all the time, like, what if we had did this? What if we had went to a bigger school? We're here at VCU right now, recording, and we're walking around the campus, we're like, dude, like, this place looks perfect. Like, I would have loved coming here, right? I got accepted here. You, as people found out in the first episode, you got waitlisted, but you probably would end up coming here after the semester at Wesleyan, or you might like it at Wesleyan, and I would have been here by myself, right? Crazy how that works, right? But there was something about Wesleyan when I'm telling you, it was the weirdest feeling. I was there with my pops, and there was nobody on campus. We were just walking around, and I looked at him, I said, this is it. That was not, we didn't have to say nothing else. I was like, this is it.
That's crazy. I pulled up into my dad like, yep, that's it. And they drive me out. This is it.
Yeah, this is it. Like, I got all about this shit.
No, but I mean, when you try to plan, I mean, there's just a lot of anxiety that comes around that, a lot of worry.
Hey, turn your...
Is that?
Yeah.
Alright.
No, like this way. Because it's blocking. Yeah, because it's like blocking your face. And we'll edit it out. So start again.
So when it comes to just trying to plan and trying to make everything go under your wing, there's a lot of anxiety that comes with it and a lot of work. It's like, you know, I'm trying to connect A with B, with C, with D, but what if that doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? What if somebody's late? What if, you know what I mean? And I'm the type of person where I love planning out my day. I put everything in a planner, you know, write it down, but almost by the minute, you know, every 10 minutes. But there's just some days I just look at my planner like, not even close. You know what I mean? Not even close. And I talk to my mom too. She tells me, she's like, Mo, sometimes you just worry too much. You know, it's in God's hands. Just work hard, have faith, believe in what you're doing, and you'll be okay. You know, I'm still planning, but my long-term goal, like, that's what I have in the back of my mind. So while I'm planning, I'm like, hey, look, even though I'm planning, it's still in God's hands. Like, God is the best of planners. You know?
Because at the end of the day, we can't do jack squat about it, right? Like, when it's our time for something, it says in the Quran, what is meant for you won't pass you by, and what isn't meant for you, you will never obtain.
Let's talk about that, you know, because we always look at each other in competition, and it's like, man, that guy has that car, that guy has that beautiful spouse, that guy has all that money, you know? But like you saying, that money might not be meant for you. Like, your reward is coming, you know what I mean? Or your calamity is coming, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's one or the other. And it's hard, bro, you know, because when you see somebody that you grew up with, see somebody that's one of your good friends and everything like that, and something great happens to them, you know what I mean? You're like, damn, bro, like, he didn't work that hard for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you get that?
That's, look, man, but that's jealousy as well. And we learn in our religion, like, yo, not to have jealousy. So it's always full circle, man.
It's full circle.
It's always full circle. Like, you can't look at what the next man's got or the next person has and compare yourself, because then you you're not even taking control of your own life.
You lose sight of your blessing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You lose sight of your blessing and what you have in your hand. One thing that Jabril told me a long time ago that I freaking hate, because always pops up in my head, not even hate, dislike heavily, is a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. You know what I mean? And at first I didn't understand. I was like, bro, why are you talking about birds? But I was like, you know, that kind of makes sense, because we never realize what we currently have, you know what I mean, until we lose it all, and then we try to come back.
And you can't get it back.
And I kind of, you know, grasped what I had, and I opened up my hand and realized that it's empty. Like I lost what I had because I was too focused what I was trying to get.
Trying to be greedy, cuz.
Man, it is greedy in a way, cuz.
Trying to be greedy.
We're always trying to accumulate. We're always trying to get to the next step instead of appreciating where we are.
Yeah.
And saying, thank you, God, for getting me this far. You know what I mean? Alhamdulillah, like I'm content with where I'm at. So.
Yeah. And then on the other side, that, you know, I like to think about my life as almost like a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm my movie's main character.
Okay.
And things are going to happen,
Uh-huh.
right? But if you know like how a movie script works, it has a certain pattern. And if you notice, when we go through certain trials and errors
Okay.
within our lives, it's always a certain pattern, right? You mess up, you think about it,
Yeah.
then you take time to recollect, you might talk to somebody, and you recollect, and then you be like, you know what, this isn't so bad. And then you take control of the situation, and then you learn something from it, and you become a little bit stronger
Yes.
after each struggle, right? Surely after difficulty there comes ease.
Yes.
Or with every difficulty there comes ease,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And I think we have to live by that, because Allah is constantly testing us, especially during a month like this, Ramadan, where
yeah.
you know, where we see it full force. Like
Mhm.
we're purposely taking things away because Allah asks us to,
Mhm.
and accepting those blessings. And this grand plan that Allah has for us, the director of our movie,
Mhm.
right? It's like we're all in a movie,
Yeah.
one big movie, but within our individual movie, we think all the problems are just on us.
Yeah.
Everybody is going through their own struggle,
Yeah.
right? And Allah is just showing us these signs, you know, bit by bit. I just think that's absolutely amazing, you know?
Everything's written. Just the word maktub.
Maktub.
Maktub, man, is just written for you, or it was written for you not to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's because it's hard, because when you're growing up, you hear a lot of people saying, I'm self-made. I did it on my own. You know what I mean? And sometimes I even got caught up in that. You know, I'm like, hey, I did it on my own. Nobody helped me. I kind of, you know, came out of the struggle. But it's like, no, there's nothing that you do on your own. Whether it's your parents give you a little bit of guidance, or one of your uncles made a sacrifice for you to get to that point. You know, so there's nothing ever that you do alone. You know,
Exactly.
so especially when God's there. But
Exactly.
nothing outside that, with God's control, He makes the situation easy for us. You know, that's what we should at least pray for, because you can legitimately make our life a lot harder. You know what I mean?
Or even if the situation isn't easy, after all those trials that we go through, we're just stronger. Like, dog, I don't know about you, but after Ramadan, I feel so in control of my life.
Yes.
I feel so, I feel as though I'm able to conquer almost anything. If you can go a full day with no food, you can go a full day without being angry. You know how hard it is to not be angry during rush hour in Norfolk, Virginia? Like, bro, what? No, matter of fact, even worse than rush hour in Norfolk, Virginia, being in the slowest traffic ever in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, that's worse than rush hour traffic. Because they're not moving and there's nobody in front of them. Like, the people there are just too old to be on the roads. It's crazy.
This is normal.
Yeah, right? There's a quote, this is in Surah Al-Nas, which translates to the people, which I think is interesting. You think about the rapper Nas, right? Nas, and his raps resonate with who? The people. Y'all can use that and then tell your friends.
Oh, we caught on. Nice.
Yeah.
We caught on.
But this part is in the second ayat, and it reads, the sovereign, the controller of all affairs of people. So I gotta give a little context of that.
Yeah.
Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of people, the sovereign, the controller of all affairs of people, the God of people, that He may protect me from the evil of the worshipper, of the whisperers of the whisperer, the sneaking one. who whispers evil suggestions into the hearts of people from among the jinn and the ordinary people. So this is a prayer to Allah, right? And you're signifying that Allah is the sovereign, the controller of what people do. And Allah controls those people that are doing evil things. But just like I said, we're our own movie, right? Those people are our obstacles, and we're meant to get over them. Allah is rooting for us. Allah is like, go,
do it.
Exactly. But we have that free will where Allah lets us decide.
Yeah.
The script is as I like to think of Matu, it's written, the chapters are written out for us, but we get a chance to fill in the pages.
And the whisper, what he's talking about is, whether it's the jinn or the devil, like just when you want to do something, you always have that inner, you know, you're always fighting yourself, like, man, should I do it? This is the right thing. Like I said, Allah wants you to do the right thing, but there's always something holding you back. And sometimes that whisper can be your family. It can be your friends. You know what I mean? It can be just that temptation. No. You know, so that whisper can mean so many different things. You know, it can even be society in a way, saying like, hey, look, everybody's doing it, man. You do it too, you know? Yeah. So there was one thing that you said earlier that I want to hop back onto is you were talking about just that kind of that loop that we go into, like, hey, we go into a problem, we get stressed out, we figure out what happened, we talk to some people, you know, and then we resolve it, then we get into another problem. I feel like everybody has that, but once you get older, once you kind of realize that it's in God's hands or Allah's hands, you kind of reduce the time in that loop, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, you know, there's something like, you know, bad happened to me, I'm like, dang, so instead of stressing about it for a month, it might be 2 weeks now. Drop it down to a week. Might be 3 days. Yeah. I mean, depending on the severity of what happened, but you know, that's what I'm getting at now. You know what I mean? Like, man, I know this happened to me, but like a few days, like last week, I lost like $200. You know, I was grieving for Leah, and I know. And then
I'm hurting for you right now.
I was hurting for like a full day, but then I was talking to some people, and they were like, "Hey, maybe you lost that money, and somebody picked it up that really needed it." You know what I mean? Maybe they need some medication for the day that they didn't have the money. You know what I mean?
Well, somebody brought some drugs with it. I mean,
yeah, still some medication, but so now I was like, yeah, but I was like, you know, there's nothing. What can I do at that point? Yeah, I could be stressing about it, and it's legitimately out of my hands, you know. So.
You know, it's funny you say that. It's funny we're on the topic of like giving money because like for a while I would give money to people that were in need or like homeless on the streets, and I stopped for my own reasons because I felt as though the people that I was giving the money to weren't necessarily using it for the right reasons. Yep. And I know it's not good to assume, but I had very good reason to assume. And it kind of just made me upset because I was like, well, like I want them to use this for good, but I can't control that. Once the money, my mom, I sat down with my mom and talked to her about it. She was like, once you give, that's it. Like you have no more control, and your intent is what matters. I know we've talked about intent versus actions. Yeah, and so you get the reward based off of your intent of giving. Like if you were giving in order to hurt somebody, right, then the reward you get is going to be based off of your intent. So yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from, 100%. But yeah, man, it's that cycle. I know exactly what you mean because last week, as people who might follow me on YouTube or like just heard it in past podcasts, we were supposed to go to California, and we found out that we couldn't go because financial reasons, just obligations that we had to handle here. And when I tell you I was stressing, like I was stressing.
You stayed up all night?
Yeah, I stayed up for like a solid 24 hours, longer than that maybe. And I didn't get sleep till like 7:30 a.m. And the reason why is because I literally sat up and thought my way out of the whole thing. I was like, okay, what is Allah trying to like show me? Why? Like I had, like it was at one point I was like, all right, I'm definitely gonna have the money. I had everything in line, but other things happened along the way that kind of just was like, so.
You thought you was the man?
Yeah, like I thought I had it, and so I was sitting there like, man, why did this happen, right? And I started thinking, I was like, well, maybe God wants me to do more with maybe the podcast. Maybe God wants me to do more with videography and making movies while I'm here, and not go off. Maybe there's something there that's not meant for me to go and do. And once I start thinking like that, I was like, yo, my opportunities might just be here.
See, I love how you spun that from a negative to a positive situation, because many people, even myself, like, why is God taking from me? You know what I mean? Like, why does he keep doing this to me? You know, and I think what you're saying is like, he was doing this for you.
Exactly.
You know, because what you might be getting might not be good. You know what I mean? Might not be good for you. Or, remember you told me this before, not every opportunity is for you. You know? Not every.
I stand by that firmly.
You know? And
I stand by that firmly.
at first, I was like, how? You know, if it comes to my life, then it's meant for me. You know what I mean? But, no, that's not.
Yeah, it's not true.
It's not true. You know?
Not everything is for
experience.
Man, in the words of Big Sean, not everything is for everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we look at, like you said before, you look at, I'd be like, man, that sweater most guys dope.
Yeah.
But that joint might be a small and I wear a large. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But that's how things fit for people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we look at somebody like, oh my God, like they got this, they got that.
Yeah.
Or you might look at an opportunity like what just happened with us and we're like, oh man, like I wish I could go, but there might be something 10 times better coming our way.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Understand.
Exactly. Like, I would imagine that going to that conference might not have enabled the ideas that we got for this podcast to come as quickly and to be as creative as, to come to fruition. So, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
As simple as that. It is what it is.
You gotta adjust. You know, whatever happens to you, you have to adjust and move. You know what I mean? Gotta keep swinging. If you get hit, what you gotta do is get back up, and you just gotta move with it. And one thing that I love about that, it's hard to realize, but once you get that mentality, there's not many things that can really bring you down.
Not at all.
You know, and one person that's really like that is my mother. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I never see her stressed about anything. 'Cause she's like, hey, look, Mo, it happened. You know what I mean? Now let's just find a solution. And I love that, you know, because they take the same amount of energy. You know what I mean? Worrying, complaining about what happened to you and asking why, rather than being proactive, trying to figure out a way. They take the same amount of energy, you know? So why not focus on energy on to find a solution instead of just kind of reinforcing the problem?
Yeah. And I mean, this goes for anybody listening. Like, next time something bad happens, just stop. Don't think anything. Just stop. Assess the situation. And of course you're gonna get angry, but bottle that anger up. Don't leave from where you are. Don't move until you're able to calm yourself down and be like, you know what? It is what it is. Now what? When you start thinking like that, perfect example. I cracked my brand new Galaxy Note 8, right? And I just missed my pocket. It was one of those things. And I literally sat there with my hands over my face for like 3 minutes. I didn't move. I didn't take a single step. I didn't even pick up the phone. I just looked at it and I just put my hands on my face. I picked it up and it was cracked. And I almost snapped. But then I just stopped because I was like, you know what? There's nothing I can do.
Yep.
What do I do now? Immediately, and this is my finesse, immediately I called Sprint. I put insurance on my phone. I was like, so what happens if I crack my phone?
You're covered.
Yes. And so I got insurance.
Yep.
I'm covered. And now I'm good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But if I get all angry and I wasn't thinking, I probably would have cracked my phone again because I would have thrown it.
You would have thrown it.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't have thought about calling Sprint. But
No.
taking that little bit of time to just say, you know what? Let me just see what God's got for me. Because God was probably saying, you idiot, make sure you put insurance on your phone.
Yeah,
you know?
or get a case.
Yeah.
So I actually have another surah that I think will be relevant.
Yeah.
It's Surah Tawbah, verse 51. Nothing shall ever happen to us except what Allah has ordained for us. He is our Mawla, which is protector, and in Allah let the believers put their trust. No calamity occurs on earth nor in yourselves, but it is inscribed in the book of decree before we bring it into existence. Verily, that is easy for Allah, in order that you may not grieve at the things over that you fail to get, nor rejoice over that which has been given to you. And Allah likes not prideful boasters. So, kind of like what you're talking about what happened with your phone, right? Cracked. Hey, it is what it is. Allah knew that was going to happen, but you found a way to kind of overcome that. There's another part on here that we didn't talk about is, if you do get something, don't brag.
Don't boast.
Don't boast, because you can lose it as quick as you got it. You know what
That's
I mean?
a good point.
And I've seen that happen to myself too, many a times. There was one time where, I made a team that I didn't think I was going to make, a soccer team, and then I was very prideful and boasting to the other individuals who didn't make it. And
that was me.
And I got injured. You know what I'm saying? Like,
shit, that's the way it happens.
You
man.
get injured and it's like, dang, man, what happened? Like, why I didn't deserve this? And they're like, no, fool, you were arrogant. You know what I mean? So that's why now, if I go through anything, I just said alhamdulillah, and then I pray for it now. You know what I mean? Now I just make like sincere dua, like, Allah. One thing that I've been saying recently in my dua is like, hey, yo, Allah, please, whatever is good in my life, please put in, but whatever's bad, please take out of my life. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. I've been saying that just consistently, and then from there, I saw habits slowly just get out. Bad habits. Slowly, people that I started, that I stopped talking to because of for multiple reasons, that they kind of got out of my life. Put better people in my life. You know what I mean?
But it comes with action too.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
It doesn't just come from praying.
After I prayed, I got up. You know what I mean? Washed my face and got back to it. You know what I mean?
Because it's very easy for us to say, oh, we prayed for it, so we're good. But at the same time, for instance, a couple of days ago, I had to cut something out of my life that was not beneficial for me at all. It was causing me more stress, and I was just like, you know what, cut. And I got questions like, why'd you do that? And I was like, it just wasn't good for me anymore. But I pray for the same thing, like, Allah, whatever is good for me, bring it forth, and whatever is not good for me, please take it away, right?
But that came with the action.
It came with the action.
Because you knew it was bad.
At the same time, though, it came down to my free will to make that decision. So I could have easily been like, you know what, it's not all bad, and left it in. Because not everything's 100% bad, not everything is 100% good, right? Maybe. I don't know. I digress.
Depends on how much you have.
But I looked at that situation. I said, you know what? That wasn't me taking full control over a situation that Allah presented to me. Because Allah put that right there, and He was like, all right, let me see what you about to do.
What you about to do?
What you about to do, little homie? You know?
Here goes the plate. Here goes the platter. I served you up.
Yeah.
But I mean, just don't stress. You're in control of just do what you can, to be honest. You know what I mean?
You can only do so much.
You can only do so much, to be honest. There's certain things in life that you can control, and other things that's out of your control, So for you to stress out because it's raining, you know what I mean, about the weather,
you can't do nothing about that.
Do about it. But what you can do is go and grab an umbrella. You know what I'm saying? Go grab an umbrella and get ready to go through the rain. So.
And I mean, that goes back to what you were saying before, though, is prepare, right? The one thing that I didn't do with my phone was I didn't prepare to have a good, my phone case I have on here wasn't good enough for a fall that it took. I didn't prepare well enough for the possibility of that happening. If you know you live in an area where it rains, maybe you should get an umbrella. You didn't prepare well enough, right?
So one thing I used to say when I was younger, I was like, man, why? Okay, like if Allah's the best of planners, which He definitely is, I'm like, why does bad things happen to good people with your loved ones? So the way he broke it down is that it's perception, because you realize what you have. Even the people the most successful people have all this money and everything like that, but they're still not happy inside. You know what I mean? They have no peace. They have no wholeness within. And that can legitimately just eat you from the inside out. And they think that everything, I feel like, people I've met who are very wealthy, very successful, they feel like everything they've done is because of their wit, because they're just so smart, just because they have all the money. I'm just powerful, like that's what happened. Not really. God put you in that situation to succeed. You know what I mean? So,
and I think that's what some people will equate as luck as well. Right? Say, I just been lucky. Nah, bro, you've been blessed. Like let's get the terminology straight. You've been blessed. I have thought like that before, though. Like, why do bad things happen to good people, and why do good things happen for bad people? I think that it's all on perception, because we have such a big emphasis on wealth, right? And when we look at wealth and say, oh my God, this guy has it all, we don't know what's going on in his head. We don't know what's going on in his life.
Exactly.
So it's one of those things where from the outside, the perception is great. He might be miserable.
That's what I'm saying.
He might be more happy just making $20,000 a year, living in a shack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's looking at you like, yo, this dude has no responsibilities.
Yeah.
He's not stressed, but at the same time, you stressing because of that. So I think it's all about being content where you are, but not being complacent.
The difference.
Quote that.
Right now.
It's important. It's very important for you to be satisfied with what Allah is bringing forth to you, because you can't control everything. You have to be patient. You have to be happy that, like, dude, am I upset that we don't have our own studio? Not at all. Like, I enjoy what we're doing right now. I'm very content, but we're not complacent with where we are at the moment. And I think that enables you to grow. That enables growth.
And another thing that I would say is that when you put your faith into Allah, you're more present mentally. You know what I mean? There's times where I'm going through my day, but I felt like I was just going through the motions because I was so worried about tomorrow. You know what I mean? I was so worried about, like, damn, how am I going to pay these bills? Damn, I have this huge trip coming up that I need funds for. I want to travel more, I want to do that. So you're worried and all that stuff, but you can't control any of that stuff.
No.
You got today. Yeah. So when I finally just kind of stepped back and like, dude, why am I even worried about this shit in 2 weeks? You know what I mean? Let me just chill. Let me get what I need to get done today.
Exactly.
Every little day, push the fold up a little bit more, you know what I mean? Inch by inch, and then, you know, inshallah, Allah's going to give me, you know, what I pray for.
Yeah.
If not, try again.
Listen, man, it's for all of our younger listeners, it's really something that you learn as you get older. Like, this isn't something that I'm about to be 26 next week.
Well, I'm 26.
And happy birthday.
Thanks, sir.
And what I've learned over the last 3 years, if I had known that, you know, from the time I was in high school, I knew it. And I exercised some of that. But I wasn't as present in doing it. Like, now I actively seek it. Before it was like I was doing it and I was doing it kind of unknowingly. And now I'm just learning more about myself, and I'm learning more about the religion. I'm learning more about I think now I have more taqwa than I did before. Taqwa is God consciousness. I'm not going to throw around big words and then like you guys should know them just because it's Arabic. Like, let's be real here, people. I have more God consciousness and realizing that God has put in us the ability to do anything. Like, there was this one point, and I was at a really, really low point in my life at one point. I was extremely low. And it took me a while to get out of that. And recently I got in a low point, and I was like, yo, I got over, you know, this depression that I was in at one point, and I was in it for over a year. And nobody knew it. I was just in it. And I got through that. I can do anything. I woke up that morning, I was like, yo, I can do anything. I want to fly a plane, I can do it.
So nobody knew except for Allah.
Yeah.
You
and,
know?
that was the person that helped me get out. Or that was the reason that I was able to get out, you know. Allah was there guiding me and helping me and protecting me and helping me mature.
I feel like the hardest times were growing up, you know, at a younger age, but also post-graduation. You know, you graduate from college, you're like, okay, I graduated, I'm the man, everybody wants me, I'm hot, you know, I'm a free agent. God. And then you get out, and then you slowly realize that you're nothing.
You ain't hot.
You ain't hot. You never was.
Lynn's not hot.
You know? And then out there, I was just like, man, I can't find a job. Why is this so stressful? You know, a brother like me should be able to find something without any problems. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that I just always kept just my head high and just focused on Allah. You know, I planned, but He's the best of planners, man.
But how were you thinking when you weren't super God conscious?
So when I wasn't super God conscious, I was always worried. You know what I mean? I was just always worried, just anxiety, and I had different outlets to kind of get that out, to kind of calm me down. But then it would come back up again. Like, I mean, right now, the big thing is mental health. You know what I mean? And especially just with the younger generation listening in and stuff like that. We have a lot of responsibility on us. You know, we have tons of responsibility, and for us to act like we have everything figured out,
yeah, that's crazy.
think about it. You graduate from college, right off the bat, expectations out the roof, because you graduated. Now you need to get out there and find a job that's paying you $100,000. You know,
so you can buy that Benz.
Provide with your family, everything like that,
and go to the club and make it rain.
Yeah, and it's like, if I can't do that, and I have friends doing that or holding up that perception that they're doing that.
It's all, look, I'm gonna stop you right there because it's all a perception.
Yeah.
100%. Continue.
So I'm like, they're doing that. I graduated too. I should be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, what's the difference? But I wasn't God conscious at the time. So my anxiety would just get higher and higher and higher. And then from that point, I was just, not only was I working harder, but I was trying to figure things out that I had no control over, like we said, you know.
Yeah.
What am I doing? At that point, I was just basically going to just drive myself to the ground,
yeah.
You know, and just be burnt out. But now, alhamdulillah, this year, this is the most God conscious I've been, and just basically just putting my hands up like, you know what? I did my part.
Hey.
Everything's in Allah's hands now.
Hey.
You know? So I feel a lot more better now. I'm a lot healthier. My mental health is on a higher level now too, you know? I'm not stressing anymore. I'm not worried, and I feel so much better.
What's funny is when I started my YouTube channel, I had to have that mentality. Like, sometimes you just post a video, you don't know how it's going to do at all. You might think it's the best video ever. And I think that about all my videos. Like, every video I post, you know.
This is the one.
I'm like, bro, this is my best video yet.
Cash out, Mo.
This is my best. This is a killer movie. I killed this joint. And then it gets, I've had videos that got no views. And then the ones that I don't think will do anything get thousands of views. So I'm like, yo, this is crazy, right? You have, to an extent, you know, that's what we're talking about. It's like you have really no control over what happens once you decide to go in a certain direction. Like, I posted something on Twitter the other day, and I was like, you know, I'm really just winging this life thing.
I saw that.
And I really am. Like, you know, I make decisions, I stick by them, I try and execute them the best I can. I don't know if that's going to help me, if it's going to lead me directly to my goal, right? I don't know if that's going to lead me to, you know, being a voice for Muslim Americans, if it's going to lead me to being an advocate for African Americans, if it's going to lead me to, you know, being on the big screen, right? I don't know if what I'm doing is going to work. But what I do know is that as long as I'm doing things that are pleasing to Allah, and that I'm doing things that are going to help my fellow man, I'm like, yo, there's only so much I can do, right? Like,
all you can do is click that publish button. Whatever happens after that, out of your hands.
It's God's plan. It's God's plan.
You know, I'm trying to also teach this to my brothers too. You know, my brothers, my family members. Like, man, in a way, like, calm down. We're young, and that's one thing that I did like. That I do like about Gary Vee. To be honest, there's a lot of things that I didn't agree with him, but one thing that I do agree with him was like, bro, you're still young. Just relax. Cause dude, think about it. We're always caught up. We're always hustling and bustling and moving and all this stuff. Like, we're trying to have our lives figured out by 25.
Bro, we're trying. But you know where that comes from? It comes from the media bias. Ty Lopez. We about to pull out all the social media gurus right quick. You know, he has this thing in this program I took called 67 Steps. Yeah. And it was called the media bias, where we grew up, our generation grew up with seeing people at their peak. So Bill Gates, and for more recently, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Nobody knows about the upbringing. Nobody knows about his story. Nobody knows about like what he had to go through to get to where he was at. But everybody wants to be like, yo, I'm trying to come up with the next Facebook. And everybody wants to achieve that pinnacle, right? But not knowing that some things just aren't meant for you, right? And you get depressed when you don't get that. And that's why I personally have backed off of social media a bit, because it gives you a fake perception of what others are doing. And we have friends that they want to live that perception life. They want to live, they're like, yo, look at me, like I'm stunting. But we talk to them, it's like, dude, I have no gas. Yeah. Like,
stressing.
Yeah.
Family problems. You know, I'm not even talking to my parents anymore. I mean, one thing that I would do if you like have a bunch of anxiety right now, you're stressing, definitely do what Jabril did and just take a step back from social media and just
Yeah.
learn more about yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I've been
It sounds
doing this
corny.
year.
It sounds extremely corny.
Because it might be corny in a way, but it works.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, look, stop looking at everybody else. Stop being what everybody else wants you to be, and figure out who Jabril is. Figure out who Muhammad is. And once you do that, you come back to the scene. You pull up like.
You're unfazed.
You're unfazed.
You're unfazed by everybody. And I think when we got in college, I was in that frame of mind. I don't know if you remember, because I used to dress completely different than
Yes.
everybody. Like when I went to William and Mary, I was telling my mom last night, I was like, that was one of the best times of my life. I took a summer course there. It was a college course before I graduated high school.
Yeah.
And I met some of my best friends, my man Christian and John, and my man Mike. Me and him were roommates. And when I got there was no judgment. Like, people didn't put me in a box when I was there, and it was refreshing. You know what I'm saying? Like, people were there to get to know me for me. And one thing that I like to do, like, I would have on soccer shorts, I would have on flip-flops and a hoodie, because we'd be in class, like, you want to sleep, pull that hoodie over, you know? But it was blazing outside, right?
Yeah.
So I came to college and I was dressed like that, and because the people that we were hanging around, oh, look at you, da, 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 and like joking and stuff, but it's like, yo, like, I'm comfortable like this. Like, this is how I like to go out and do my thing. But once you start getting that habit of looking what other people are doing, look how other people are dressing, look how they're talking, look how they're acting, and you start to slowly get molded by this stuff, it takes you away from your comfort, and it pulls you somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not necessarily be uncomfortable there, but at some point in time, that's going to change. And when that fad changes and you end up changing with it, you're not being a genuine person.
But that's in your control, though.
That is under your control.
That is under your control. Who you hang out with, who you're influenced by, you know? So that is in your control. And ultimately, whatever happens to you, Ty Lopez is hilarious for this. He said everything is your fault.
Yeah, it
you
is.
Know? And
it
at
is.
first when I heard that, I'm like, who the heck is this dude to tell me everything is my fault? But then even when I realized it, you know, we even talked with my sister, she's like, oh man, you were supposed to wake me up today, I had a huge test. You had a test.
Not me.
I didn't have a
Dude,
test.
I had to do the same thing
I was
myself.
up all night, you know, studying, doing other stuff. If you was really worried about that test, you would have put 3-4 alarms on. You wouldn't have depended on me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And once start opening her mind, she's like, wow, that was my fault. You know? How you gonna blame that on me? That's not my test.
Yeah.
You know, that's if I wake you up, you know, that's just a plus.
Again, we think that it's a person-to-person interaction, but that's God
That is good. Yeah.
making us do or say something
Yeah.
to help that other person.
Mm-hmm.
That was a moment in her movie.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Where she probably had a realization, like, dang, like, I should have done this, and it would have made me not late, right? But in your movie, you were thinking like, yo, I'm just putting the truth in her ear. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about perception of what's happening to who, and who is reacting to what, and how they're reacting to it. Because I do the same thing with my sister, and she doesn't react the same way. She's not like, oh, you're right. She's like, no, right?
She's a little bit younger.
But it's hard for young people. It's hard for young people to accept responsibility, because for most of your life, you don't have to accept any responsibility. You don't have to worry about if things are your fault or not, right?
You just do.
Oh, Mom, why didn't you drop me off earlier?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, why didn't you take me to school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you didn't buy me this, right? But once you reach that point where it's your responsibility, it's all in your hands.
Yes.
And you can't blame anybody. And that's a level of maturity. That's something that some people are just going to have to go through. We had to go through it. But once you understand, you truly understand, like, yo, I have full control, and even when I mess up, God is sending me signs. Yeah. The more you mature, here's the other thing. The more you mature, the more you mature and the more God conscious you get, the more you'll be able to recognize Allah's signs.
True. I would agree with that 100%. I don't know what surah this is exactly. I remember my brother was telling me, it's like you walk towards Allah and He's gonna run towards you. You know what I mean? Like He loves people who like ask for His help. You know, because that's what really He wants us. Talk to me. You know, like, and for you saying that just being more God conscious, that means you're thinking about God more. And when you think about God more, that makes you mature in a way, because you're like, I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and when you take full responsibility of that, and you realize that, and you get to the point where you're God conscious most of the day, or 24/7, you know, 24/7, I feel like there's not many things that can really stop you at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you're, in a way, indestructible.
You can do anything.
You can do anything.
I told you, you can do anything.
Yeah.
When you get to that point where, and I mean literally anything, you want to be an astronaut, like, yo, do it. And you see people access that, like these people that go to college and they get degrees when they're like old.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like 50s, 60s. I mean, like, there's people that are getting their degrees and they're like in their 80s, 90s, right? Like, you can do anything. There's people that are like always want to learn how to fly, and you're seeing these older people, like old heads. They're like,
who was the one guy you posted on Facebook? How many he had, like over 25 professions? So he was like a teacher.
oh yeah. So when I was in middle school and into high school, there was this substitute teacher named Mr. Abdullah, short Nigerian man. And what was funny about him was you would see him in the distance down the hallway, and we had like crowded hallways. And this, I promise you, this man did not walk. He floated everywhere. Like, it was like he just glided everywhere. He walked so slow. It was like he just glided to the next class. I will be there shortly. And I remember we had this class. It was my math class, and I was a sophomore. And you know how they have the intercom, and they called in. It was like, "Dit, dit, dit." And he waited, "Dit, dit, dit." And he had to like pick up the phone. That was them calling, and he goes, "Say something." Speak. And but long story short, I don't know how much truth there is to this, but Mr. Abdullah had so many professions. He was a lawyer. They said this man was a doctor. He was a bus driver. He was a teacher.
Wow.
And like, he just did a lot of different. He had a lot of professions, huh?
He just tried it.
Yeah, he just tried it, right? And this guy was old. He was old head. And so I thought it was just really cool and really impressive that, you know, this man who had this long life is still here teaching us. He could be at home doing whatever he wants, but he's here with us.
He didn't put any limitations on himself. As long as he believed in God, he knew that God had his back. And if it was part of God's plan, then it would happen. If it wasn't part of God's plan or Allah's plan, then it wasn't going to happen.
Exactly. Dude, I mean, it's like those people that are, I think, the world's oldest, or it might be the U.S.'s oldest marathon runner, 102. He finally retired at 102. Bro, this man runs more than you and I have ever ran. Just think about that. And from his age of being, let's say, 90 to 102, he probably ran more than you and I have in our entire lives. Together.
Oh, no.
Think about a marathon.
So that's crazy.
And then practicing.
Oh, yeah. Training.
Think about it. If somebody runs 10, 15 miles a day for 2-3 years, bro, come on now.
At that age?
I mean, just in general, that's a lot of running.
True.
So with that, it's like you said, it's God's plan. Like God puts that spirit into them to do that and enable them to do anything. But you can only do that when you have a higher consciousness of Allah is blessing me to do this.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's how I see it, man.
I mean, it's really humbling too. You know, that's why it really does bring you down to earth too as a person. Just like, I know God has given me so much, but I know He can take it away from me. You know, He has given me a lot, but He can also take away from me. So, just alhamdulillah, bro. Alhamdulillah for what God has given us to. Just this platform to kind of talk to our youth, talk to our people that are going down the same path or just going down there currently. You know. So,
yeah. I mean, Allah's the best of planners. Allah knows all, and Allah bestows His grace upon who He wills, man. Like, we can't control that at all. Like,
and for all the finesses out there, you're not that good. All the schemers out there, nah. The best of schemers, the best of finessers.
Yeah. No, and that's real. That's real. That is real.
Because it's another thing that we talked about this on our I think the first episode was that, hey, look, I'm still young. I'm gonna go out there and party. I'm still go out there and jam and do my thing. But when I get older, bro, That's it. I'm gonna be on my deen, dog. Like straight up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm marry my wife. We're gonna be good. Go to Mecca and stuff like that. At that point, you've basically planned your life out. You're basically calling yourself the best of planners because, you know, you're trying to. At that way, you're scheming.
Mm-hmm.
The schemer, you know, but that's impossible.
But guess what? Man plan, God laughs.
I love that.
Period. Like,
End of story.
end of story. So look, man, we need to really come up with a real ending.
I know. We kind of look at each other like, you done?
Are we finished? Are we finished here? Ooh. You know what, man? This particular podcast, I feel like we just got in like a real intense moment because this is something where we've definitely spoken this multiple times, but I think that we're still going through it,
Yeah.
and it resonates with both of us to the point where, like, yo, like that fire just ignites. So like this one has been totally different in my opinion than any other ones because it's like it's very focused, very intense, because it's very important.
Yeah.
It's very necessary. Like this podcast, this episode right here is so important because it's going to dictate your life. And the sooner that you're able to understand what we're talking about, the sooner you're able to understand that Maktub, everything is written. You might think that you're going to go left, but Allah is blessing you to go right. And the sooner that you stop trying to resist and you start trying to control how you react to having to go right, the better.
Yep.
Control your attitude, you control the speed in which you travel down the right path. The sooner that you understand that, the better off you'll be.
For everybody.
Yeah. So now do we end it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you for listening. Again, guys, make sure you guys go and subscribe onto our YouTube channel. That's the Young and Muslim Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Find us on SoundCloud, Apple, iTunes,
Google Play.
and Google Play. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram under @Young, the letter N, Muslim. And yeah, I think that's it. And we will see you next time. But we greet you in degrees of peace.
Assalam.
Wa alaikum.